Out of us. Let's start with what is the narrative that is being circulated by many Muslims?
Well, basically, it's being circulated by extremists who do form the minority within Muslim communities, but they are a vocal minority. They dominate the discourse. And the narrative is the Islamist propaganda, which is spread far and wide amongst Muslim communities. And this is the idea that somehow America is locked in a war against Islam and Muslims. And that actually acts as a catch-all explanation for every problem and every grievance within Muslim-majority countries.
So what is the narrative is the dialogue from the radicals, and thanks for pointing that out, that America's bad and we should oppose them and let's rise up against them. Now you, sir, actually were a big supporter of the narrative for a very, very long time. And in fact, you were, shortly after 2001, you were swept up in a sweep and you wound up in prison in Egypt. You were there for 4 years and you were pushing the narrative.
Yes, for 13 years I pushed this narrative. So take examples like Iraq or Afghanistan. Islamists would interpret these examples as part of America's war against Islam. Now, whatever we may think about Iraq and Afghanistan and the wars going on there, certainly the motivation is not that America hates Islam and Muslims and that's why it's gone into Iraq.
Right.
You know, we can give it any other explanation we want, and that's the subject of political disagreement. But yes, I pushed that narrative for 13 years, and it acts as a very effective propaganda tool to recruit young Muslims.
But now you need to have more people like you who have seen the light and realize, wait, the narrative is bogus, it's not true. We need to have people pushing the fact that the narrative is not true. It is a fairy tale.
The narrative is absolutely false, and one of the things we're lacking is, you know, America's been very good at engaging militarily, but I think where more effort needs to be done, and I think where people need to reconsider policy, that sometimes military solutions aren't the best way forward, is that there needs to be a counter-narrative. Essentially what's happening is that people are still interpreting everything through this lens, and the counter-narrative promoting, first of all, challenging this idea that America's at war with Islam and Muslims, and promoting pluralistic, democratic counter-narratives and alternatives to this view through civil society simply is not happening at the moment.
You're right. We need the counter-narrative. Maajid Nawaz, we thank you very much for joining us today from our bureau in London. Good day, sir.
A pleasure. Thank you.
All right. All right. Now you know about the narrative. Meanwhile, straight ahead, it seems the administration can't decide what to do about the moratorium on drilling. Meanwhile, so many remain out of work. Politics at play over common sense. Senator John Cornyn here to weigh in next. But first, let's check in with Senator Bill Hemmer for a peek at what happens in 12 minutes.
The senator from Ohio now has the floor. How you doing, Steve? Good